everyone. I Luxia Iqbal, the vice head girl of Wilsonia College.
And I, Soha Alam, sports captain of Wilsonia College.
We welcome you all to our podcast show. Today, we are honored to have our two exceptional doctors with us who are going to share their experience and expertise with you all. So, get ready for the dose of medical magic. So, first we have Ma'am Dr. Prapti Singh. She is a surgeon and gynecologist and also the ex-Wilsonian of batch 1991. So, welcome ma'am.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you ma'am. Next up, we have Dr. Tina Shah. She is the dentist and her husband, Dr. Deepak Shah, was ex-Wilsonian and head boy of Wilsonia batch 1994. Welcome ma'am. Thank you for having me. So, they are joining us today to share their expertise and make aware the wealth and health. So, get ready for it.
Okay, Ma'am Prapti, take us through your path to medicine. What inspired you to pursue a career in healthcare, and what were some of the most significant moments along the way?
Well, I'll talk about the inspiration first. My main inspiration were my parents. My father was a surgeon and my mother was a gynecologist. And by God's grace, they did exceptionally well in the profession. And I always looked up to them. And from them, I took the inspiration of getting into medicine, but more so from my mother, because her patients would go home very happy, because she was a gynecologist, so delivering babies, and people would be very happy to take their baby home, and they would be like, "Doctor, thank you so much, because of us, because of you, we, got a new child and everything." And she got a lot of respect and love from all her patients. And about the journey through the medical studies. See, first of all, I was very interested in biology, and thanks to Mrs. Naran, the ex-teacher who was here with us, teaching us in Wilsonia, she was extremely good. And because I was interested in bio, I went into medicine, and basically the journey from then on onwards was just studying. And in between, college life, you tend to go out and enjoy a bit, and that's it. Not much to say though.
Yeah, that's really great that our ex-Wilsonian teachers are doing this much, and they are actually very much helpful. This time, also the present teachers are also very great.
I'm sure they are.
So, Tina, what is your interest that you pursue a career in dentistry?
Well, I come from an engineering background, so I was the first person in my family to get into the medical line. So nothing as inspiring as Dr. Prapti, but I was a good student. So generally, for students who are doing good, the parents expect you, okay, you go in a medical line or engineering line. So engineering was already there, so I tried to pursue a different career. So that was medical. And then while appearing for exams only, I got to know about dentistry. So it appealed to me, and then I just thought, okay, let's give it a try. And it's good that I gave it a try.
That's really great.
Okay, Ma'am Prapti, can you share some memorable experiences or stories about your time at Wilsonia School?
Well, there are not some, there are plenty of them actually. And time would be short if I start. To start from the beginning, I was taught by the most loving and most intelligent teachers present at that time, and it's unfortunate that some of them are not amongst us now. It's really unfortunate, because I really adore them, I admire them, and they were like, idols for me. And Ma'am Santram, Senior Ma'am Santram, she was a real ideal figure for me. I wanted to follow her in everything. The way she conducted herself, the way she took charge of everything, the way she was determined to go ahead and ahead and ahead and never look back, and the way she worked so hard day and night to come all the way this way. Now that Wilsonia has, I think, almost 7 to 8 institutions now. It's a whole group now, and I can never forget that ma'am used to work very hard, and she used to take personal interest in all the students, and you won't believe she knew all of us by our names. And of course she scolded us also when we made noise, because my class was just behind her office. So but there was so much love behind that scolding, and I can never forget those days. They were the best days of my life, I must say.
We also have some memories with Ma'am Sundari. She was a great woman, I can say. So, next question is from Ma'am Tina. Ma'am, can you just highlight your moments in your educational field and also your husband's connection with the Wilsonia family?
About my husband's connection, definitely. I have heard a lot of stories about Ma'am Santram, definitely. That's on the top of the list. And I had the great fortune to meet her also. So I had been in contact since like after marriage we used to meet, because we are in the neighborhood, so Christmas time and otherwise also festivals and other moments we were there meeting her. So she came across as a very strong and independent and of course principled woman. And you look up to such people. And plus the stories you have heard from your husband and of course from my in-laws. So he also tells me about the same thing as Prapti said. His classroom was also along adjacent to Ma'am's room. I think she kept the mischievous kids along near to her. So that's one thing I remember. But he also remembers her very fondly. So, and of the teachers, of course, Mrs. Naran. I don't remember many of the teachers, and I didn't have to meet all of them. But I have met his friends, and there's a Dr. Prapti, who is senior. So I know, I can understand how good influence Wilsonia has been on all these students, ex-students, I would say. So it shows the teachers were dedicated, and definitely they had a big hand in shaping their future and the people they have become. So I have a lot of respect for the students.
And ma'am, what about your education journey and your school life?
I have been educated in Delhi till class 12. It's a Navy school, Karachi Constabulary. And then I got selected to CBSE PMT and I got admission in King George's Medical College, Lucknow in VDS. And of course, the college life, it's a mixture of stress, mischief, good memories, you can say. And again, as Prabhu said, the time will get short if I start talking about those. So it was a memorable journey, and my alma mater, of course, everyone meeting people from there. It has the name evokes a sense of respect to people for that. I'm very grateful that I got admission to such a good school, and I hope I do very
Okay, Ma'am Prapti, what are some common myths or misconceptions in women's health that you have encountered in your practice, and how do you address them with your patients?
Myths. There are plenty of myths,
Yes.
There's one that says many people, girls and women, they come and tell me that they usually don't bathe during their period. And it is a big myth, it's a big misconception, because one needs to maintain better hygiene, more hygiene during that time. And if we don't maintain hygiene, we can get into many serious complications like pelvic infection, further leading to even infertility,
Yes.
Then there are so many other myths that one should not do the routine work during pregnancy. Until unless you have a high risk pregnancy, you should do the normal work, and you should consume a normal diet. It's not like you're eating for two people. Some ladies saying, no, now we are going to be a mother, I'm going to be a mother, so I should be eating for two people. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't have to take extra calories or anything. Only few supplements like calcium and protein. These are the things you should consume more than your normal diet. These are two misconceptions which I commonly come across.
So, in developed world, we are seeing that dental checkups are mandatory, monthly or monthly. So, what is your perception that when it's going to start in our country?
See, compared to developed countries, the first thing is the dental awareness is more there, I think. In India, we lack dental awareness as such because unfortunately people don't take teeth as they don't give importance to teeth as much as they should and as much as they give to other body parts, I will say. And the second thing is that the dental checkup which they are getting in developed countries, it's not free as such. They are getting health insurance for which they are paying, and it is a part and parcel of those dental checkups and the scaling thing. It's a part and parcel of that health insurance scheme. In India, in our country, the insurance thing has come up now, but it is limited to metro cities and I'll say the bigger cities only. Tier 2 cities and Tier 3 cities are yet to avail those benefits. So, and dental treatments are not included in those, even those, in these health insurances which are available in India. So that is one big setback, I'll say. So I think if the insurance companies should be involved in that, plus people should be made aware of taking their dental health more diligently and a little more carefully. So that should help. So that's my take on this.
Okay, ma'am Prapti, what emerging trends or issues about women's health are you most concerned about, and what will be the best approach to cure them?
Lately we have been seeing a lot of young girls coming up with irregular periods and PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which we are commonly seeing amongst teenagers as well. It not only leads to irregular periods, it can even cause infertility later on in life. And it has got a lot of it has got to do with lifestyle. All of us, almost 90% of us in cities like ours, we have 90% of girls leading a sedentary life and eating a lot of junk food because it's all available over Zomato and Swiggy and all that. And eating a lot of maida, refined flour, which is not good for the ovaries as well as the whole body, because in the PCOS condition underlying factor is insulin resistance, and maida only the refined flour only adds to it. And the ladies who have PCOS are also prone to have type 2 diabetes later on in life. So this is one of the most alarming issues that has come up, and we should address it through lifestyle modification and diet first, and then come to medication.
So I think that the young age solution about mental lifestyle.
exercising also.
Yeah,
Also plays an
exercise.
important role
Yeah,
in
exercise.
regulating PCOS. Exercise.
Yeah, that's what I said. Sedentary lifestyle. So
Okay, ma'am. So now, as you patient come to you, they are not well, they are not their mental health is not good at that time. They are stuck with something. So how do you just manage the patient at that time? How you just console their patient mental health and also the physical health?
see, first of all, good listening is very important. Patient listening is most important. When the patient walks in, she would be like, "Ma'am, please see my ultrasound. I have got this, and I'm really scared. Am I going to die, or is my baby going to, am I going to abort? Is my baby going to be born with defects and all that?" So first, I tell them, you just sit, relax for 1 or 2 minutes, and tell me about yourself first. How old you are, and where do you live, and what exactly is your problem, and slowly come to the problem. Then I examine them first. While examining, I tell them, see, I don't see anything major which should be alarming, and you seem to be over worried. Then she would tell me, okay, मैंने अपनी auntie से पूछा, my aunt told me, no, this serious could be condition, or this condition could be serious, or my cousin told me, don't eat like this, don't drink like that, don't go there, don't go, these conditions are like that, and it could be cancerous, this, that. So I console them and tell them, no, every condition is not cancerous until proved otherwise. So first we get you tested, and if the lady is pregnant and if there's an anomaly in the baby or something, then I tell them, see, this is the percentage of risk your baby can have, and whether it is life threatening or whether it is just something which can be taken care of after birth. So you just basically 50 or 60% of the times patient gets relieved only by patient listening. And because they go to many people, I'm not saying that most doctors are busy, but if we give them 1 or 2 minutes extra and listen to them what they have to say and their fears, half of the time they're satisfied and they go back happy. And then the medical treatment, we tell them, this is the treatment, you do this, these are the tests, get them done, and then we will come to a conclusion. And if there is something which is out of my field, I can refer you to somewhere else. That is how I deal with them.
Like when patients are coming to you, they're not mentally and physically fine. So how you deal with them?
You are saying like kind of anxious. So a lot of anxious people in Delhi, I must say. Earlier, first of all. So first you have to calm them down definitely and let them sit, take a deep breath, ask them to take a deep breath, and then just ask them to list their problems. Just listen to them carefully. Okay, you tell us your story, what is your complaint, how are you feeling? And then we examine the patient and then let them know, okay, if the situation, if you are worrying too much, or yes, unfortunately you have something to worry. So first we examine and then do the tests or whatever is needed. And then tell the picture or tell the entire situation to the patient in some easy terminology which he or she can understand. And then tell them the treatment modalities which can be provided to them so that the ailment which is affecting them can be cured. So listening is the key important.
And I have a treatment coordinator, so at that time I saw that people just go there and they were like, when it's time to start up the teeth pull out the teeth. They were like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do it. Not even the kids, also the elders. What I got is
There's no age limit to this.
yes, it's like horrible.
Most people are scared to go to a dentist.
Some poet also has said, I think Oscar Wilde is that there is one pain and then there is dental pain. So
No, there is a third one, labor pain.
Chalo, then I can suggest to my patients also. There is one more severe thing. But yes, I tell some of my female patients this thing. Have you got a normal delivery or a C-section? So they said normal delivery. And then this pain is nothing you can have. When you have delivered a baby, you can just deliver a small bit, it's nothing. So it's basically phobia, I'll say, of not knowing what is to be expected. In my case, I ask the patients, okay, you feel the pressure, there will be some knowledge, okay, something is going on. I think people are more afraid because they can't see exactly what is happening. And it is in very close proximity because dentists are working in very close proximity to the patients. So the patient gets, I think, anxious by the close proximity with the things and the instruments. But as of the dental extractions are concerned, I can assure with proper anesthesia and proper techniques, it's not as painful as it is depicted and as it is shown, or society has a mental picture or a preset notion about it. So we need to address that also. So every treatment is not painful. Some condition may be there, and if the patient has pain, we always listen to them and then give some extra anesthesia, or maybe even postpone the case if they are too anxious. So it's not that hard to extract the tooth.
It's not only with the dental treatment, it's with almost all the kinds of treatment in India. Especially because we have more of unaware, uneducated class of people coming to us.
And they happen to go to
Yeah.
that is also
Without anesthesia, they might be doing.
Yes.
Proper knowledge and all. And the patient may have had a bad experience.
Yes.
And maybe some relative may have had a bad experience and they transmit that knowledge to the patient.
Yes.
So they have now, okay, my aunt had got the tooth extracted and she had she fainted at that. So they'll already come with palpitations and know, okay, I don't know what is going to happen. So that's not the case.
A lot of anxious patients come, and when they come the second time for the second visit, they're totally relaxed, and I tell them, last time you came, you were not smiling, you are smiling this time. So the patient will be like, now I'm relaxed.
And that gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Okay, what strategies do you both employ to maintain a healthy work-life balance, and how do you prioritize your personal and professional responsibilities, and what will be your advice to us as students?
That is a very tough one. It's very tough. Our work-life balance is almost in doldrums. What I try to do personally is wake up at my usual fixed time and do some exercise and then go to work early and try to wind up, have lunch early. But see, in my case especially, I can have emergencies at any time coming in, patients with deliveries and other things also, maybe accidents or injuries and all that. So lunch, dinner, breakfast, these are things which I have to sort of manage in between.
Yes.
But largely, I try to take my meals on regular intervals, exercise regularly. As for children and family, they deserve time, and I try to do my best to give them the time. That is all I can say. We don't have any magic wand, so we somehow try to manage everything, and I think most working women are doing the same.
Yes.
Yeah, and every day is not the same. Sometimes we have very hectic days, and our children also tend to understand that "Okay, mama has gone to work, so we'll try to be, we'll try to be good children and not, trouble her further.
Yes.
And there are days when we are free, and we also take time out for vacations. So that's how we all manage life, I think.
Yes. And ma'am, what will be your advice to us as students?
As students, I think you people should concentrate only on studies and your physical health.
Yes.
You should have almost zero mental stress, except before the exams, like how you start panicking, like
Yes, yes,
ठीक
of
है,
course.
exams and we haven't studied enough. But you shouldn't get into that condition. You should be well prepared before the exam, not sit the last day and try to mug up everything. So regular studies is important. That way you can avoid your mental stress.
Yes.
And then exercise, go for walks or something, go out for some little outings with friends, and spend most of the time studying.
Yes.
That is this thing. And plus, focus on nutrition and don't take junk food. Children, really, these things are very harmful when you get in later on in age. These are very harmful.
Yes. And ma'am,
About the work-life balance, I'll say maintaining a kind of timetable and scheduling things is an important task. So, in my field, thankfully, there are no emergencies as such, very few. So, I have fixed clinical hours, although they tend to get overextended sometimes.
yes.
But I usually make time out for the family, and fortunately for me, my in-laws are a great support. So my mother-in-law makes sure that let you go for work and
Yes.
she manages to the home. So that way she's a very great support.
Family support is very
Lot of
important.
Yes.
support. It's very, especially when my son was very young. So when I started my practice again,
Yes.
post delivery, so that time was a bit critical. I didn't feel like I was a bit confused. How should I do patients? Because sometimes the treatment time gets extended and it is elongated, so the baby is also suffering. But that time, my mother-in-law was a great support for me. So later on, you get adjusted, and then of course you have to take care of your body also. So it's like a machine. If the machine is well oiled and it's working condition, it will serve you more
Yes.
years.
Yes.
So similarly, doing regular exercises is very important, and I try to do that. And again, taking time out, unwinding in some span of time, going out for a family vacation in some months. That is our key to maintain a work-life balance.
Yes.
See, the thing is, when a patient comes to us in agony, like whether it is dental pain or labor pain or accident or any sort of stomach pain or anything, when we look at the patient from humanity point of view,
Yes.
then everything takes a backseat, even the family. So that is it. That is the most important thing that we keep in mind. Not keep in mind, it comes naturally to us.
Because naturally, the family members also
Understand it.
understand that. Even the kids, they become more responsible, I'll say, from an early age. Okay, mommy has to work, so I have to manage without her.
Yes.
So that way they become responsible more quickly. Taking notes for future.
For sure, I'm also going to be an Smithsonian doctor actually.
There are many ex-Wilsonians who are doctors in the city itself, and I'm sure there are many outside the city also.
So we'll be hoping and doing a podcast.
Let's dive further. Let's have a rapid fire one-word session.
I think it's going to be very interesting. We are going to reveal your personal thoughts here.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so first question is your favorite pastime
Mine is sleeping.
and your
Mine is reading and traveling.
nice.
your favorite book?
India's Real Heroes.
Nice. I have a list. I don't have a single book. So there are lots. I think Jaya by Deepak Patnaik and Harry Potter series.
Harry Potter series.
Books written by Dan Brown, Chitra Banerjee, and the list goes on.
Okay, and your guilty pleasure?
Pizza.
Midnight snacking.
Wow. Okay. Most unusual patient request.
This is unusual and flattering at the same time. There's this patient who came up to me. I was writing down her birth certificate and her child's birth certificate, and I asked her whether she has named the child, or otherwise we put the mother's name instead of the child's name. So she said, "Can we name my daughter after your name?" And she named her after me.
Wow, that's nice. So, mine was very common. One male patient came and said, whether you see male patients or you see only female. So I was like, I see human teeth. Whether they are male or female, I can see both.
Okay, your favorite medical instrument?
The knife, the medical knife, the surgical knife, I mean.
Mine is the rotor, of course, my knife, and RPG, the digital dental X-ray.
Okay. Ma'am, what about the favorite procedure?
Conducting deliveries, that's my job, whether it is normal or cesarean.
Yes.
That gives a lot of pleasure to the family also.
And yours?
Mine will be root canal. That's quite challenging,
Yes.
as well as gratifying when the patient says, the pains you need. Usually RCT is needed and the dental pain is too much.
Yes.
So doing RCTs is, I'll say, my
Okay, next one is, what is your superpower?
Can't say. A good sleep, maybe.
It's really nice one. And what about
What's your ma'am?
superpower. I think I have it, but I don't know. Maybe connecting to the patients of all ages.
Yes.
I think I can do it.
Nice.
I think that is.
so, ma'am, hidden talent that no one knows. So now it's going to reveal.
There's no hidden talent as such, but a lot of people may not know that I'm a Kathak dancer. That's all.
This is
It's not really a big secret.
Okay. What about you?
nothing hidden as such. I like to sketch.
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 Wow,
Nice.
Sketching. Nice. I would love if you would show. Okay, ma'am, for sure.
Okay, ma'am, what is your dream vacation?
Goa.
Goa. Nice.
Mine as well. Wow. It's still a wrap up to our conversation now.
So you must have realized that behind the doctor, we also have the child in us,
Ah,
going to Goa and dancing.
family support is very much important. And every field, I've seen everything.
True.
Ma'am, as you were saying, in one of the talks, you were saying that emergency cases. So, before, when I got you were not pick up in the call. You were like, I mean, ma'am, the emergency case to the first case.
No, I would have informed you in that case, but today I wound up late, the OPD, and I was having my lunch at that time.
We get to know about it.
Yeah, if there is an emergency, the staff picks up the phone and informs that I'm busy most of the times.
So, I think that is okay.
As we conclude today's enlightening conversation, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished guests, Ma'am Prapti and Ma'am Dr. Tina Shah, for sharing their invaluable expertise and experiences with us.
So, with the essence of their dedication, I would like to express my few lines with them. In white coats, they walk with care. angel in disguise and heart so fair. Their hands heal wounds, their words soothe pain, a doctor's love forever will remain. With those powerful lines, I would like to wrap up our podcast session. I hope this podcast show has been thought-provoking and informative to you all. Till next time, stay tuned with us, and we would like to thank again to our very delightful guests, Dr. Prati Singh and Dr. Tina Shah. Thank you, ma'am.
The pleasure is ours, and it's always nostalgic to come back to Estonia.
Thank you so much. It was a very nice experience and an innovative one. And those students so much for this interesting new thing.
And as the quote says, let your light shine. Till then, stay tuned with us.